Brown bears and one grizzly bear. And people always ask, what is the difference? They're actually the same species. It's location and diet that makes them distinct. Brown bears are coastal bears that eat salmon. Grizzly bears are interior bears. Not that they wouldn't eat salmon, they just don't have access to salmon. Brown bears are bigger than grizzly bears because they have a more consistent protein source. The two brown bears they have are siblings, brother and sister, 19 years old. In the spring of 2004, in the town of Willow, Alaska, about 60 miles north of Anchorage, their mom killed a moose. And Willow was the start of our Alaska Iditarod, our big sled dog race. And it just so happens she killed a moose on an Iditarod musher's property. In Alaska, you could defend your life or your property to wild animals at any time. He had approximately 100 sled dogs chained up, and those dogs were valued at over $10,000 a piece. He had over $1 million worth of dogs. So he shot the bear not knowing that she had cubs. After he shot her, he found out that she was lactating, she was producing milk. So we went to go try to find the cubs. He was unsuccessful. So he called Fish and Game. They came out with a little dog called a Karelin bear dog. It's from Russia. It's a little black and white dog that was able to find the cubs. Come to find out those cubs are only 2 to 3 months old.
Oh, wow.
Mother never got to teach them how to hunt, how to fish, but most importantly, what mama brown bears do for their young, they teach them how to fight, how to defend themselves against other bears. So the boy, his name is JB, stands for Joe Boxer. He's about 9 feet tall and 1,000 pounds. His sister is called Patron. Yep, just like it sounds. She's about 7 feet 5'50". I do not know who named him. I guarantee it was a college student though. Now the third one is the oldest, Hugo. Hugo is a female grizzly bear. She was found at the base of Mount Hugo up by the village of Kotzebue, Alaska, way up north above the Arctic Circle. In the spring of the year 2000, a snow machiner was out snow machining and came across Hugo. Hugo had gotten a tussle with a porcupine and lost. She was full of porcupine quills. Mom has 6-inch claws, good for hunting, good for digging, bad for plucking out porcupine quills. So she abandoned her young. When he found her, she only weighed 5 pounds. She was really dehydrated, pretty much left for dead. He felt bad for her. He put her in a box, brought her down to the conservation center, and the same story with Hugo. Mom never got to teach her how to be a bear. She's only 6 feet, 350 pounds. She looks like the cub of the other two, but she is actually the oldest. And I tell people how the bear dynamic at the park is. If you have a dog at home and you get a puppy, even though that puppy might grow up to be a bigger dog than the dog that you have, that puppy's going to imprint on the dog that you have. And the dog that you have will always be that puppy's boss, no matter how big that puppy gets. And that's what happened here. JB imprinted on Hugo. I call him his girlfriend, but he is fixed. And so he follows her around. They're usually always together. He gets along with his sister okay, but the two girls, they don't get along at all. When they fight, JB comes and breaks it up, and he always sticks up for his girlfriend, not his sister. Has anybody been to Yellowstone?
No.
Yellowstone is home to the plains bison, or the big buffalo. In Alaska, we do not have plains bison. We have their closest relative. It's called a wood bison. Plains bison average about 2,500 to 3,000 pounds. They're big and wide. They can be as fat as possible because they're in the wide open plains. Well, in Alaska, with the dense forest and vegetation, it doesn't benefit them to be big and fat. So they're narrower from behind. That is the major difference. And the story about the wood bison in Alaska, they thought they were extinct for 75 years. They thought man had totally wiped them out. They thought the only population left was a small herd in Canada. So BLM, Bureau of Land Management, was doing an aerial survey in interior Alaska where the permafrost is melting. Nobody lives there, nobody goes there. The reason why, because the black flies and the mosquitoes are so bad there that if you went there, they would literally eat you to death. So nobody goes there. But it was in the middle of winter. They were doing an aerial survey, and they found a small herd of about 150 animals. So someone had a great idea. Let's catch them. Let's bring them down to the park with the sole goal and purpose is to release them back into the wild where man had wiped them out. In 2017, they released 60 females and 40 of their young in a little village of Shackleck, Alaska on the Yukon River. And then 30 days later, they released 30 big bulls. The reason why they did that, in the wild, boys stay in bachelor herds because they always fight in roughhouse, and the moms have small little calves that the boys could easily step on, injure, or even kill. So at the park, they have them separated. The dominant bull is with the females. As of yesterday, there are 8 baby, brand new wood bison born in the park this year. So the total world's population of wood bison throughout the whole world, less than 7,000. You're going to see some of the only ones known in captivity, and all these wood bison at the park are going to be released back into the wild. I'm a firm believer of this. If man is the reason why the wood bison are missing from the wild, man should be the reason why they're put back into the wild. They are a keystone species. They're supposed to be there. Unfortunately, they were easy to hunt and they taste delicious. So that's why they're demised. Now they're protected, can't hunt them anymore. So they're making a comeback, and it's all because of this conservation center that they're getting released back into Alaska. So what we're gonna do today, we're gonna drive into the park. We're gonna go all the way to the very far end of the park. The park is 200 acres. The bears get 14 of that 200 acres. So we're gonna go see if the brown bears are out, and then we're gonna go see the male elk, the moms and the baby bison. We're gonna stop on the way back. We're gonna stop in this little barn called the bunkhouse. We're gonna see the moose, the lynx, and the muskox. And then I'm gonna drop you off in front of the gift shop where you're gonna go see the wolves. You're gonna go see all the animals behind the gift shop. There's an owl, an eagle, porcupine, coyotes, foxes. And then at the very end of the tour, we're gonna drive down and see the bears one last time. And you're gonna be able to walk across the bear path. And the black bears will be out. They're always out. But I'll tell you when and where and what to do, and I'll tell you all the animals while we're going, so you get a narration and the backstories of why the animals are here. I'll tell you all about the birds that you're going to see.
Nice.
Yep. The oldest resident of that establishment is a bald eagle that got here in 1996. Bald eagles live a long time, between 40 and 60 years. But the bald eagle that they have here, his wing got shot off. And that bald eagle has been in 2 very famous movies. One is called The Big Miracle. It was a Drew Barrymore movie about the whales that got stuck under the ice up in Barrow. And the second one is called Into the Wild. It's a Chris McCandless story, the kid that hitchhiked from New York all the way to Fairbanks, Alaska, and ended up passing away there. And he got paid $25,000 per film. And he worked for salmon, and he couldn't fly away, so he was a perfect little actor. Think of all those nature movies. They have to have animals that have a trainer that brings them in. Those animals get paid a lot of money. You know, because there's not a lot of them that can do what they're doing, and if they want them in a movie, you know, it's part of the budget. That Chris McCandless story was directed by Sean Penn, and he actually, not when I was with the company, but when my boss was working with the company, he actually went on the exact same tour that you guys are going on today before he started shooting that movie. So. And the nice thing about the Conservation Center, it's right across the street from Portage Valley. So we're going right in here. We're going to spend a little over an hour in here, and then we'll be on our way back home to Anchorage. Is everybody enjoying themselves?
Yes.
Is everybody learning something today?
Yes.
Yes. There you go. That's why I said educational and entertaining. That's my Yep. I've had doctors, professors, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you really know all your stuff." And I said, yeah, "This is what I do. This is my job. Hopefully, I know it." And most of the tour guides in the summertime, I would say 80 to 85% are not residents of Alaska. They just come up here to work the summer tour season. But I've been here for 33 years, and I'm a year-round tour guide, so I'm always here. So over here on the right are the boy wood bison. And the difference between the boy and wood bison is how skinny they are from a front or behind. So we're going to see the moms and the babies in the dominant bull, but they keep the boys away from the public because they could charge the fence. You know, they're always hostile. And these are not just an endangered animal, they're critically endangered. So every single animal, even one of them, is very, very important. So the animals that you're seeing at the park today, the wood bison, they are breeding stock for future generations. So what they'll do is they'll take some of these animals, we'll put them back to the wild, take a couple animals from the wild, so they keep changing over, so they have a little bit of genetic diversity. As soon as the COVID situation's totally over, they're talking with the Canadian government. They want to take a couple dominant bulls from the Canadian herd and trade them with a couple dominant bulls from the Alaskan herd for the same reason, to have genetic diversity between the herds.
This might be a silly question, but how do they transfer them? Like, do they put
Plane. They put them on a cargo vehicle, then they put them on a military plane, and they can only deposit those animals in the wintertime. When the snow's there, they make a runway and they can land a big transport vehicle out there. That's how they move them. And you'll see some of the things that they use, the chutes, how to move the animals around. Hello, how are you? 5. You guys see this little hummingbird feeder over here?
Yeah.
Yep.
That is for the rufous hummingbird. It's one of the smallest hummingbirds in the world. It's only about an inch tall and only weighs 1/10 of a gram.
Wow.
But that little hummingbird comes all the way from Mexico, all the way to Alaska, and it goes through Portage Pass to get over here. Have you seen? Yeah, they were out yesterday as well. But yeah, they're really, really tiny hummingbirds. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. Let's see if there's any in there. I didn't see any today, but they come around. They're around, but they come all the way to Alaska. I mean, for a little bird that only weighs 1/10 of a gram. I mean, literally, it's like this tall.
And even in colder weather.
Yep, that's where it comes. Only in the summertime they're here. Oh, perfect. I got a good surprise for you guys.
He's in the tree.
Yep, he's in a tree. So we're gonna get a quick picture of him because he's not. Yeah, I think he might be coming down right now. So we're gonna get a picture of him. There's a black bear in a tree over here.
I've seen
so
him.
that is a quarantined black bear. He's about 2 years old. He's not quarantined because he's sick. He's quarantined because he's Houdini. He's an escape artist, and there's other black bears in the area that are trying to help him get out, and he's climbing down that tree. So we want to get a quick picture while he's here.
I guess try to escape finding other tree.
Well, he does that because he can smell the brown bear and grizzly bears in the area, and instinctively he will do that to climb a tree because brown bears and grizzly bears cannot climb trees. So I'd walk in front of that 7-mile-an-hour speed limit sign. Get this picture. He's coming down the tree right now, so get a good video.